La Malinche, Remember the Alamo, The Daughters of the Plumed Serpent, and no Nick Cage? Come on now.
5, 4,
Uno.
Paulie back here on the Latino Slant. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. Please make sure you're subscribed to this channel and comment away. I'm talking about the Disney Plus show National Treasure, The Edge of History. That's right. Here's what I want to do in this video. We're going to watch the trailer, and then I have screenshots, some interesting objects and all that good stuff. And then I want to get into the definitions of what they are talking about in regards to Mesoamerican history, because this television show does not come out till December 14th. So I want to throw some speculation out there already, and I want to get the conversation going. Maybe stuff you've never heard about before. Okay.
This holds a clue to a treasure of utmost importance.
That is our new lead, Lisette Olivera.
The daughters of the plumed serpent were here.
That is Catherine Zeta-Jones with a blonde wig.
Like, did you get that necklace?
It was my dad's.
Okay, this is very important.
He died when I was a baby.
So she got a necklace with an image from her dad. There it is, right there.
I told you everything you know about your dad is a lie.
Right. Lisette's got a very strong and beautiful look. What I want to do is I want to talk about some of the images that we are seeing from this. Writers in their interviews, the Wibberleys, have talked about we're going to show you guys history of the Americas. Now that takes us out of the United States of America, and I have a question with that. And the lead character, they've decided to make a 22-year-old dreamer. That is a DACA person. That's someone who's here undocumented, not by their own means, and they found out, I guess, when they got older, that their parents have brought them here as a child, undocumented. So there's that. The plumed serpent. When Catherine Zeta-Jones said the daughters of the plumed serpent were here, okay, there's a couple things going on. Here being the ruins of pyramid that she was probably in. The plumed serpent is another way of saying the Aztec Mayan god Quetzalcoatl. This is Quetzalcoatl. This feathered serpent. This is a huge deity in Aztec and Mayan mythology. Temples built towards Quetzalcoatl. So why Catherine Zeta-Jones, why her character said the daughters of the plumed serpent, I don't know why someone who's a treasure hunter knows all this knowledge and she's talking maybe to someone over her back or maybe to herself, why she wouldn't say the daughters of Quetzalcoatl. That would make more sense. Now, who are the daughters of Quetzalcoatl? Now, I'm going to speculate that it's either a religious sect that still worships the god Quetzalcoatl, and maybe they will protect the treasure at all cost. The plumed serpent is Quetzalcoatl. Just, give it its Nahuatl name, and that language is Nahuatl. So that's one thing there. Now, let's go back to the lead. The lead was talking about a pendant, was talking about a necklace, right? This is the actual pendant on Lisette's character, right? This is what's hanging around her neck. This is a conch shell with the plumed serpent Quetzalcoatl in the middle, and I believe that's the tongue sticking out. So obviously here, if she's saying that this is something my father gave me when I was little, and we see that the trailer that the father gets killed over this, there is a war going on for the battle of, maybe it's the treasure. Maybe he was a treasure hunter. Maybe he was not part of the daughters of Quetzalcoatl. Let's just say she is a descendant of the daughters of Quetzalcoatl. And if Harvey Keitel is saying everything that your father told you was a lie, there might be a twist to where not only is she not a daughter of Quetzalcoatl, maybe she's part of the other side. Okay, now hear me out. And I think it's fascinating. I think it's fascinating because we're now going to move to the other side of what that could mean. Daughters of Quetzalcoatl or plume serpent was obviously the indigenous side, the Aztec side, protecting the gold. Moctezuma, his gold. Moctezuma's with the C, guys, by the way. There's no N in Moctezuma. It's not Montezuma. Moctezuma. So let's just go with that, right? Let's just go with that, which is kind of cool, right? They're playing off existing people and myths and Aztec deities. Early on in the featurette, they have the image of the sacking of Tenochtitlan. And Tenochtitlan is Mexico City, modern day Mexico City. Tenochtitlan was a 5-mile radius, amazing city that was created by the Aztec Empire circa 1400s and sacked 1521. This is the Spanish conquistadors, along with a lot of other native tribes that did not like the Aztecs, going into Tenochtitlan and just taking them down. We all know about Hernan Cortez. We know about Moctezuma, and now they're playing off this daughters of the feathered serpent. Now, there's another image I want to show you. And why they're showing this is because Lisette's character is doing research with her friends. And all these images you're seeing in the featurette, a definition of an interpreter known as La Malinche. This is not from Wikipedia, guys. This is a screenshot from the featurette. This is their definition of what was going on. And I thought this was fascinating because I'm like, is some of this right? Is this correct? Now, La Malinche was a real person, a very mysterious person. He was born to royal or nobility tribe, Mayan tribe. And I think she was about 7 or 9. Her father died. The mom got a new husband. They had a kid. And there are several accounts of this. And I'm going to put all the links in the chat. Several accounts basically that the parents no longer wanted her around and secretly sold her off into slavery, claiming she had died. Now, during those years of slavery, and she was enslaved by other Mayan tribes, she learned different languages. She was already kind of had a regalness about her, so Malinche really stuck out. Here's what kind of bothered me about this Disney definition. That her or her mother misbehaved for unmaidenly behavior and were punished, or simply someone with the power in their village did not like her or her family and insisted on her departure. While the exact reason is likely lost to history, around the age of 12, she was torn from her family and in the hands of long-distance slave traders headed east via canoe. Now, I checked in with 3 other kind of historical podcasters that do this for a living. And I kind of was like, that one line where we're saying someone in her tribe or in the village didn't like how she behaved, so they got rid of her and sent her far away to some off-distance slave traders. Let me state this. When he's saying slave traders, it's got nothing to do with European slave trading. It's got nothing to do with the Portuguese slave trade. This is all indigenous tribes enslaving each other, and they all have their different definitions of what that meant. We're not going to get into that because I want to give background to what this television show is going to try to do, and why I might have some reservations about that. There was no blame on Malinche's parents, and that just wasn't the case. This kind of demands a little bit more clarification. And I said that I'd love a little clarification on this definition of Malinche. And I asked a couple of podcasters who do this for a living, does this seem right to you? Now, Aztec Empire says it's a decent entry. There's no way to know her real story, but what we have comes from a semi-fictional account by Diaz. His few paragraphs became the basis for all speculation about her, and we're going to have that Gutenberg.org for you guys as well. Now, I got an answer also too from Mexica, the podcast, and all props to Mexica, a history podcast. I cannot recommend them enough. I will have their link as well. They say sounds about right generally. I don't recall anything about unmaidenly behavior, but it could be some literature that I missed. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Malinche was Cortez's nickname, but her role as his translator and constant companion earned her the nickname La Malinche, aka Marina. So there you have it, guys. Checking in with some of the historians there, which I think is always great to do. And granted, as you can see, there's so much speculation. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the Wibberleys, the writers, kind of maybe did a little research, just like what we did, and made their own for the story, kind of created their own little myths with it, which I'm not against, but I'm cautious about their modern lens as to what slavery was back then, and that this is way before Cortez or Columbus came to Mesoamerica. Now, why does that matter? Well, this is just the full picture of what Mesoamerican history, what was going on, and it gets deeper. So I'm just curious. I'm very interested on that level in regards to National Treasure. Not like Nick Cage, that really doesn't concern me. I'm seeing it more as a Chicano, as a Mexican American who who had to tunnel back because this history was never taught in schools. It was never taught when I was going to school. It wasn't until college that I got into this. So I find it fascinating. So now let's go back to National Treasure, and then we're going to wrap it up. So I'm thinking that they took there's these opposing forces for Moctezuma's gold and those against. Now, if she is part of this character is part of the Daughters of the Plumed Serpent, maybe they're going against those people who represent Malinche? Or is there a twist? Is she somehow bloodline connected or related to La Malinche? Now that would be amazing. That would be very interesting. Finally, my only thing with her being a dreamer is that by making her an immigrant, you make her a foreigner. And there is nothing foreign about this particular history. This is American history. And there are tons of us Americans who are Chicano, who are mestizos, that have been here for a long time. So what I'm saying is that I think as just a storytelling, I would have found it far more before DACA, before Dreamers, right? There have been Chicanos here for over 100 years. I would say hundreds of years. I thought it would have been really interesting for a Chicano character or Chicana to retrace their history to see where they eventually were connected to, and maybe more betrayal, but also to a connective tissue to what is American history. And why has American history always suppressed and written out the Mexican American Chicano history for decades? I find all that fascinating. So while I'm not against it, and I obviously want to see how it's written, because I don't think it's been written at the same time, I've never seen a Chicano character like this action adventure treasure hunting and retracing their lineage from an American perspective who happens to be Mexican. I just it's a different experience. The Chicano outlook on that is we didn't cross the borders crossed us. And ni soy de aquí, ni soy de allá. We're neither from here, we're neither from there. We're kind of lost, because of that border that was created. Well, all that speculation and talk, but I just wanted to, I've been meaning to talk about this. And now that the new trailer dropped and we got a little bit more information, I see this new Disney series with what they're trying to do. I'm interested on that historical aspect because I don't want them to flub this up. I do have a lot of caution with this Disney, and if what I just really hope is that they don't rewrite history and they don't gloss over any of the ugly details. But let's see how entertaining it is. That's all the time I have. It's been a great stream. I hope that you enjoyed it. Maybe learned a couple things, and maybe you're gonna check out that show. I mean, I don't think many people had any interest in it as far as checking out without Nicolas Cage. I'm gonna check it out for those reasons that I've stated in this video. We'll see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're at. Keep your slant. Muerte.
Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. The slant?
Yeah, but isn't this the unplugged version? I don't know. I think it's the unplugged version.